Yes. Okay.
My article is South Korea Ferry as the 100 missing as ship sink. This article is about a ferry called MV Seoul. The MV Seoul was going to South Korea, was in South Korea going to Jeju from Incheon. This happened on April 16th. In the ferry, there were 459 passengers. Most of the passengers were high school students from Dawon High School, and they were going to a field trip. The MV Seoul was built in 1994. The maximum capacity is 900, and its length is 146 meters. The MV Seoul went 175 miles from Incheon to Jeju before it sank. Most of the passengers did not know what to do. When the MV Seoul sank, the U.S. Navy sent an amphibious assault ship to assist with the search. Many of the students' parents were angry. On an updated article, they said 284 people were dead and 20 others still missing. The captain and 3 other crew members of the MV Seoul have been charged with murder. Because the order to evacuate the ship was never given, and none of the crew were prepared to deal with the emergency situation because they had never been trained. Some possible reasons for the MV Seoul sinking is the failure to secure the cargo properly and the imbalance of weight on the ferry. Some of my leading questions is, do you think this will affect some field trips in the future?
So what do you think? If you had to take a ferry trip in Korea, or if you were a parent in Korea, would you be less likely to take the ferry because of this one event?
So I would think that if this is like a one-time thing, then maybe you're right to keep doing this. And the way that it's saying that it could go either way. It could either happen or not, depending on how you feel or who's controlling it.
I think that the parents should be so upset that they lost their children and they're missing. I think they would want to get rid of all the having this happen.
I think that this would be something that people in Korea would still like use the ferry because it's sort of like the Titanic, how that was sort of like how big it was sort of like a one-time deal, but still we've been using boats to like import things and have people like tours and stuff, and I think we've sort of improved our technology since then. So I think that Korea's gonna be able to improve their like technology for ferries.
I think that it will probably make parents feel a little bit more cautious in Korea. I'm not sure that in other countries it would really affect as much as Korea, but I think that Korea parents might feel a little bit more cautious.
Usually when you go on field trips, your parents sign a piece of paper saying that the school district or whoever is not responsible for anything that happens. And you think they're going to make the school district more responsible for what happens?
Well, yeah, but what I thought was, I think it would because their parents would like have less trust in the school board, you know, like yeah, like because. And then.
What about the idea that all the crew and captain were arrested? What about that idea? What do you think about that? They're all arrested and charged with murder. Okay, it's not like they went and shot him with a gun. Okay, the ship sunk and many people died. They're being charged with murder. What do you think about that?
Are they just being charged with murder because the ship sunk, or did they not continue to do something?
Just because the captain and the crew members, they did not teach them like where the, you know, like the emergency places are, like where the emergency door is, and you know how when you're on an airplane and like before you go they would tell you like where the emergency door is, like
There's like videos on airplanes that you watch before you fly that tells you all the emergency exits and stuff.
well, like I meant like so like you know how they would go like they would go inside in the middle of the aisle and then they would show like where the things are located, like how you know how like on the airplanes they do that.
Something that Maxwell was thinking of was does this have any connections to the missing Malaysia plane?
Kind of. Well, like it's cause well not really because in Malaysia the airplane is like disappeared. Like, but then it was like farther from like where this was located.
So what do you mean by connection? What connection might you be thinking of? Just a catastrophe connection?
Sort of, yeah, like that.
What I thought they usually would got charged with murders because they were in patrol of the ship and like they were supervising the kids. And that's the reason why I think they got charged with murder.
Did they find the ship right away? Like the day, like something?
Okay.
This is kind of referring to Anna's question before, about how it might like affect like school districts and stuff. And do you think that it would affect like more families wanting to maybe be homeschooled just because of maybe how they're relying on school districts now?
I don't think so, because it's just like a school field trip instead of like, it wasn't like the whole entire school that went, it was just like a couple, like not that much students. Yeah. And then they had supervisors too. Like,
I'm thinking about transportation safety. When a plane crashes, does everybody stop flying on airplanes? You know, somebody mentioned about, and I think Katrina mentioned about, you know, being more reluctant to take a ferry. Now, you need to consider where in the world this is. This isn't a ferry out of New York Harbor. Does it make a difference that this was in the Asian countries? Could that make a difference? That maybe the government regulations aren't the same as they are here. You know, the capacity of the ferry might not be watched very closely because of money or whatever. So think about those things. Any thoughts on that? Okay, Katrina, do you have any closing comments?
okay, so mine was, in conclusion, the captain will always need to give a clear emergency instruction before they go, so they will know, so they will have a safe trip. And one of the questions I was thinking of, why did the captain live and the crew members live, but how come most of the passengers didn't and they died?
Oh,
Did you want to address that, Bristol?
probably it's probably like the crew and the personnel of the flight just wanted to get off. They really didn't care about all people, so they were just trying to save their own life and not other people. You know, they really should be saving other people's lives, like the Titanic. Like the captain from the Titanic, he also died without the ship. So,
but also, they did not know what to do too though, because they were never taught like what to do when something like that happened.
they could have like rescue boats and stuff. Do they have that? It might depend on like the way the ship fell over. Like I don't really know because I don't see a picture, but the captain might be in an enclosed room with like a door, and the ship might have just tipped over, and so the captain would still be in the room, and all the passengers, they don't have a room for the ground fall.
This would be a perfect time for something that Brandon was trying to connect it to was the Somalian ship stealings or something like that, where people hijacked and stole goods on cargo ships, which sort of could connect to it in a sense, like if the crew members and like the captain like lived and like the passengers died, could the captain and the crew members have sort of like not been actual like people but like thieves or something?
Okay.
I'm not sure about that, but yeah. Like I said again, the one of the possible reason is maybe the cargo was not put on properly, and probably because of the imbalance of the weight, that's why it's probably why it sank.
Okay, last one. If you have a back channel thing going, summarize your thinking right now about this disaster and what you've heard in your discussion. Do that right now, and we'll take Brandon's last thing here.
Did it see if the crew was like really experienced with attacks and all, like what they would do?
No, because they were not like they weren't taught like what to do.
Okay. So if you're finishing up your thinking on the back channel, that's great. Let's give Katrina a round of applause for her presentation. This link will be open for a little while if you want to watch the video. If you want to leave comments on the back channel, that'll also be open. Thank you for anybody that joined us today. If you have any feedback on our presentation, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you.